Let's take flight early. Look at the text and what it is yet tailored to teach us. Then Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do all things. Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. On your way to your seat, look at your neighbor and tell him he's able. I want to say a word from that thought, just for the next few moments of our time together from that thought. He is able. Elizabeth Wartzel, on January the 7th, died at the age of 52. Many in this room may not know the name Elizabeth Wartzel, but in 1994, she wrote her memoir called Prozac Nation. Prozac Nation chronicled Elizabeth's struggle with mental illness in the form of depression. And it also chronicled her habitual use of drugs as she struggled day to day trying to keep her head above water. Elizabeth Wartzel, 1994, wrote Prozac Nation that chronicled her story of life and thinking not like what we would consider the average thought pattern. Might I submit to you, my beloved brothers and sisters in church, that even if her name doesn't mean anything to you, all of us in here have struggled with trying to keep our minds straight in life. All of us in here have had to struggle to try to keep our minds from flipping out that Bushwick Bill is not the only one that could testify that my mind is playing tricks on me. And if the truth be told, and we weren't so bad and bougie in church, there's some of us in here who have had to struggle to try to keep our minds together. And in the course, pattern, and processes of time, we have put things in our systems in hopes of trying to calm our nerves, in hopes of trying to ease the tension, and in hopes, watch this, of trying to make other things go away. Don't you sit in church and look at me like you have always had it together. Is there anybody that showed up here at Mount Calvary at the 1045 worship that can testify that I too have had some struggles that I needed God to deal with? That I too have had some issues, that I have done some things that I regret, I've done some things that I wish come on, I wish you'd take the bougie up off of me. Is there anybody in here that says that there have been some things that I've done that I wish I did not do? There's been some places I wish I did not go, and I tried to make it on my own, but is there anybody that can look back over your life and say, I don't even know how I survived it, I don't even know how I overcame it, I don't even know how I made it through with it? The only thing that I can think of is by the grace of God that God kept me. Is there anybody in church that knows something about the grace of God? That when mama couldn't do it, and my friends couldn't do it, and my family couldn't do it, and my peeps couldn't do it, and the liquor couldn't do it, and the meth couldn't do it, and the other stuff couldn't do it, and laying with her couldn't do it, and laying with him couldn't do it, that God just kept me in spite of what I should have been in, and in spite of what I've been going through. And the only thing that I can think of, the only deductive reason that I can come up with is he's able. Is there anybody in here that just knows he's able. He's just able to keep me when I couldn't keep myself. Do I have about 50 of y'all that would give God an able shout just for the mere fact that God is able? You can sit in church and act like you cute and got your wig on tight and your weave sewn in good. You can sit in here with your lace front all tightened up. You can act in church like ain't nobody tell you nothing. I ain't talking to none of y'all. I'm talking to the people in church that know you got some jacked up. I'm talking to the people in church that know you got some messed up. I'm talking to the people in church that know that you've been caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, and the only reason why you made it, the only reason why you didn't blow your brains out, the only reason why you didn't commit suicide was one reason: he able. Can you look at somebody and say, yo, he able, he able, he able? What Bradley is he able to do? He's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we could ask or think. I don't even know why some of y'all didn't shout yet, because when I talked about God being able, God was able. He paid your bills when you was laid off 3 years. He took care of your kids when you was too busy trying to live your best life in a hot girl summer. Is there anybody in church that might be able to testify he able? Brothers and sisters, just knowing that God is able. But let me submit to you, he ain't always immediate.
What you saying?
Come on, let's have church now.
Exactly what you saying, Pastor.
Child of God, God is able.
Come on.
But always immediate. Can I help some of us in worship? See, some of us expect God to be a cosmic bellhop to do what we want him to do when we want him to do it, because it's my party and I cry if I want to. Cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. You will mess around and expect God to do things just because you called him. Child of God, the waiter at Miller House don't answer you every time you call. What makes you think God is obligated to mess around and answer you immediately? Can I help some people in church? Sometimes God got to let you go through, because when you go through, you will learn that faith in God is better than immediate when I know he's able. Come on, brothers and sisters, y'all know Job's story, don't you? You know where he come from, don't you? You know Job's story. Job in chapter 1 was minding his own business. Just 41 chapters earlier, Job was minding his own business. He was just trying to be a good, saved person. And Satan went to the Lord, and the Lord says, have you considered my servant Job? I'm about to help some people in church real quick. Sometimes God has got to put you under pressure to figure out if you was really a Christian or if you a clown. Because let me submit to you, some of us only want to serve God when we can clown. And God says, I really need to know that will you serve me when you didn't have nothing but spam? Or will you serve me the same way when you got a porterhouse? Will you serve me when you get the brown bill notice and the disconnect notice the same way that you'll serve me when you got $25,000 in the bank account? Will you still trust me? Okay, you didn't like that one. Job, just let me unpack in chapter 1. I'm a hopscotch cleaning to chapter 42, and I'm cleaning out y'all way. Child of God, listen to me. Job, God says, have you considered my servant Job? Ain't nobody liking Job off the hook. He's a bag of chips and some dip. Wow. And watch what happens. Satan says, God, listen, Job, the only reason why he's serving you is because you got that little hedge around him. The only reason why you serving him is because you got that little hedge around him. God said, listen, watch this. I'm gonna let you test him. You just can't kill it. I'm about to help folk people in church. I know you've been going through and you felt like it was over, but God may have given the enemy permission to test you, but the enemy does not have permission to take your life. When you look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, the enemy may mess with you, but it can't kill you. Can I tell you why the enemy cannot kill you? Because
Job, and Job has to plan a funeral. While he's planning funerals, he finds out his cattle and all of his livestock done died. And then Job loses all of his income. His kids is dead now. Now he's got to plan some funerals, and now he's got to figure out how in the world is he going to make ends meet. And now all eyes are on Job. Job, what you going to do now? Job, what you gonna do now? Now, watch this. That your kids, your babies, your boo thing, them down dead. Your wife is upset. My babies is dead. Now your livestock, your cattle, all of the stuff that brought you income is gone away. Now all eyes are on Job. Job, how will you respond? In chapter 1, we learned that Job tells us, he says, naked into this world I came, and naked shall I return. The Lord gives and the Lord takes away. Here's the shout, and I'll figure out what kind of church I'm in today. He just says, but blessed be the name of the Lord. And I was wondering if I had about 25 people in church that says, watch this, I got that kind of praise that God gives and God takes away, but I'll still bless his name. Is there anybody in here that'll holler, I will bless his name?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, God.
Yes, Lord.
But the story takes a funny turn because Job's friends come to him and begin to challenge Job. Job, obviously you've done something to create an issue with God. And then Job begins to believe it. And let me submit to you, brothers and sisters, I ain't mad that Job questions God. Job spends some time asking God some questions. God, why in the world did you do this? 13 chapters, Job laments before God. 13 chapters, Job is angry. He's frustrated. He's in strife. He's in trouble. He's in issue. And then God responds, hey, Job, where were you? Where were you when I cleft out the mountains and the valleys? Where were you when I formed the oceans and the worlds and the lands? Job, where were you? And let me submit to you, brothers and sisters, you can't never get to a place to knowing how able God is until you realize how bad we really are. I got to hopscotch on up out of here because Job gives us in this text in 42, beginning at verse number 1. But might I submit to you that Job even reminds us in Job chapter 23, verse number 10, that he says that when he's through with me.
Come on.
Hold on. I don't want you to touch your neighbor, but when you look at your neighbor and say, hey neighbor, when he's through with me, Job says, I shall come forth like pure gold. I'm about to help somebody in church. That's the reason why you can't stop in chapter number 1. I know it's tough in chapter 1 of your life, but when he's through with you. Job says, I shall come forth as pure gold. Job is reminded that God is still in control, that God is still able. So the text says, then Job replied to the Lord, can I help you? One of the signs of your faith is you responding when God is talking. God, I'm about to help my own self. Sometimes, beloved brothers and sisters, you and I got to have like a Job-like response, because when God talks, don't say, huh? Oh, okay. Y'all didn't like that. See, when I was growing up, my mama still lives in Louisville today, and my mama would say something, and I try to act like I didn't hear her. And I say, Mom, she say, Andre, I said, huh? And she say, did you hear what I said? Huh? I never will forget one time I got so in trouble because I tried to act like I didn't hear what she said. This is what she told me. She said, Andre, I was about to let you off punishment. She said, but because you ignored me, I had to let you stay in it a little while longer, so that when you finally come up out of it, you will not come up out of it thinking anything other than the fact, watch this, that I made a way for you. So I said, wait a minute, Mama, you mean tell me I could have been free? And not have to deal with that stuff? She said, yeah, all you had to do, here it is, was respond. Might I submit to you, brothers and sisters, that maybe the biggest problem in the church nowadays is we ain't talking.
You say it out loud. What you say?
We too busy spying,
Talk it
but
up.
we ain't doing enough talking up.
Talk it up.
When you look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, you're going to have to learn how to talk up. Come on, look at that other neighbor and say, hey, you got to learn how to talk up. Tell that neighbor, say, neighbor, if God has made a way, you got to talk up. If God has opened some doors, you got to talk up. If God has set you free, you got to talk up. When you look at somebody and say, has he been good to you? Then you ought to talk up. Let the redeemed of the Lord say something. If he's been good, holler, he been good. Watch what he replies. Watch what he replies. Watch what he replies. He says, I know that you can do all things. Oh, child of God, Job has been struggling literally for 41 chapters. Job has been going through for 41 chapters. Job has been struggling for 41 chapters. But Job makes a defining, marking moment. He says, Lord, I know you can do all things.
All things.
No purpose of yours can be thwarted. I got the hopscotch clean on up out of here. How do you develop a trust in God? How do you develop a trust in the Lord Jesus Christ? How do you and I, watch this, while you're going through what you're going through, can still trust God while you're going through it?
Come on.
Because might I submit to you, God may not answer you immediately. But Big Mama said he may not come when you want him. I'm out of here now. But whenever he shows up, he's always on time. Let me see if I can find 3 little people in church that would testify. Anybody know he's able? I said, anybody on this side know God is really able? I said, is there anybody, they see, is there anybody on this side that just knows that God is able? What is he able to do? Anything. We develop that trust. Number one, I've got to refuse to suppress. You want to develop some trust in God? You need to refuse to suppress. Can I tell you one thing that the enemy would love to have in your life? Is to have you suppressed.
Yeah.
It ain't real deep.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what the enemy would love to do? It wants to suppress you. Well, what, Bradley, would it like for me to be suppressed with? Number one, portion A, it needs to suppress me in my relationship with God. If the enemy can keep me from serving God, the enemy says that I want to suppress your service. Number two, or portion B, watch this, the enemy wants to suppress your celebration. Can I tell you what a dangerous Christian really is? Is a loud one. Now, let me give you this caveat. Everything that come out your mouth ain't from Jesus. So if you're going to be a loud Christian, you better have something to say. And I don't mean talking about somebody else. I don't mean talking about what you got on. I mean that you ought to be loud and talking about the Lord. Can I check? Is there anybody in the first 5 rows that says, I've got a loud something to celebrate? Is there anybody on this side that says, I got at least something to celebrate because I know who God is? The enemy would love, number one, to create an opportunity for me to be suppressed. Might I submit to you, that's what the enemy had hoped for with Job. Watch this, because Job goes through in chapter 1. He makes a declaration in chapter 1 that says, naked into this world I came and naked shall I return. And watch this, God don't change it for 41 more chapters. Because the enemy thought that if I can hold Job's praise, then I can get Job. Can I help somebody get free in church? You want to get free, don't you hold your praise. You want to be set free, don't you hold your praise and act like, oh my God, I wish they would hurry up. Oh my goodness, it don't take all of that. Oh my goodness, it don't take all that hollering and screaming. It may not take that for you. Keep on living, bro. Because if you never had to go through something and you didn't think you was going to make it out of it, somebody watch it. Okay, I'll prove it to you. Watch it. Have you ever been stuck in a desperate situation? You don't holler help. Because if you can holler help, that's a cute help. I'm talking about the people that you've been stuck in some situations that you had to holler help. That you had to holler help until somebody came to see about your situation. And watch this. When you realize it was God that came by and saw your situation, you got one response to tell him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gotta go. Gotta go. But number two, if I want to develop some trust, you ready for this one? It ain't real deep, but it is real, real true. I've got to learn how to embrace all and not some. Look at the text. Watch what Job says. Job says, I know that you can do all things. You didn't shout. I'm done. You didn't shout. I know that you can do all things. Child of God, I'm out here. But watch this. You've got to learn how to embrace all, not some. See, the enemy would want to convince you, beloved brothers and sisters, that God can take care of some of your issues, but he can't handle all of them. Y'all miss me. God can take care of some issues, but he can't take care of all of them. But Job says, God, you can take care of all. Okay, I got to go. But watch this, brothers and sisters. If you know that God can handle all, why are you just asking him for some? Okay, you didn't shout. Let me tell you why you didn't shout. Because what happens a lot of times is we go, God, just give me a little something. Who told you need to settle with some? Who told you that God can't handle all things? Okay, let me see if I can do it this way. Anybody in here ever had all of a lot of a problem? And watch this. Some stuff just ain't gonna do.
Yeah. Right. You're right about it.
And Job says, watch this, even though I've had to go through what I've had to go through, here's my defining marker in the sand. That God, I'm still trusting all. Because I know all is greater than some. And I don't know about you, but I just believe that our God is still able to handle everything that I gotta go through. Is there anybody over here that know he can handle everything? Is there anybody over here that know he can handle everything? Let's see. Lastly, see if this will work, and if it do, I'm out. Lastly, if trusting is really about something, I'm going to figure out what kind of church I'm in. And if you hear me right, you'll holler, and we don't. You've got to learn how to appreciate progress over perfection. I'm done. But child of God, you know that your trusting is going somewhere. When you learn how to appreciate progress over perfection. Okay, you didn't shout. I'm about to help my own self in here. Watch the text. It says, I know that you can do all things. Here it is. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. It does not say that the purpose don't come without pain.
That's right.
It just says that God, whatever purpose you got, even if I gotta go through it, I'll still shout on progress. Even if I can't holler on perfection. Can I tell you where we mess up in church? We mess up in church a lot of times. It's because we tell folk you got to be perfect. Ain't none of us in here perfect. Can I shut the sermon down? All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All of us in church right now got some ugly. All of us in church right now got some issues. All of us in church are one wrong person away from a cussing. All of us in church got pain and problems and issues. But is there anybody in here that would testify that I'll still shout because God has brought me, maybe not all the way, but he's brought me a mighty long. will bring